Hi, boys and girls. In today's practice station, you will be looking for and solving a simpler problem when solving word problems. Today's objective states we will participate in blended learning as we work in small groups like you are right now to make sense of word problems and persevere in solving them. I'd like you to take the next 15 seconds and discuss with the person next to you what you know about make sense of word problems and persevere in solving them. Making sense of word problems and persevering in solving them relates directly to our dark orange math practice standard that we refer to quite often. If you're making sense of word problems, it means that you are using your prior knowledge to understand what you are being asked to do. And if you're persevering in solving, that means that even when it becomes frustrating for you and extremely difficult, that you're not giving up. You keep trying to solve. So as you work in small groups today, you will make sense of the problems that you're reading and then persevere in solving them as a small group. We will look for and solve a simpler problem. That's our strategy for today. So when you're working on a large word problem, you're going to chunk it, break it down into smaller parts so that you can look for and find a different way and simpler way to solve that problem. The problem that we will be solving in today's practice station is shown right here. If not everyone in your team has a notebook and a pencil in their hand, please pause this video until they are all ready to learn. This problem says, two painters can paint 12 rooms in one day, working separately. At this rate, how many rooms can 5 painters paint in 10 days if they work separately? I boxed out both of these words, and I would like you and your partner to discuss the meaning of this word for the next 15 seconds. Another word that we could use for separately is independently. So these workmen that are on the same team painting this house are not going to be painting together in the same room. They're going to be working independent of one another, alone. The first step when using a Foursquare is to label. We have our question, our facts, our picture diagram, and our solution. Whatever I have in my notebook, you need to have in yours. The first step when using a problem-solving Foursquare is to determine the question. So again, it says two painters can paint 12 rooms in one day working separately. At this rate, how many rooms can 5 painters paint in 10 days if they work separately? So our question is, how many rooms can 5 painters paint in 10 days? The next step is determine the facts, things that we know in this problem. Well, we know that 2 painters can paint 12 rooms in one day. Since our strategy is to use a simpler problem to solve, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this fact and figure out what we can do with this information to make it easier to find the real answer to the question. So since we have to find out how many rooms 5 painters can paint in 10 days, it would be easier if we knew how many rooms one painter could paint in one day instead of 2 painters like it tells us right now. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this fact. It says 2 painters can paint 12 rooms in one day working separately. We want to take that information and figure out how many rooms one painter can paint in one day. So we're going to take 12 for 12 rooms and divide it by the 2 painters that are working, which gives us 6. This information tells us that 6 rooms can be painted by one painter, in one day. So 6 rooms can be painted by one painter in one day. Our next step would be to find out how many rooms 5 painters can paint in just one day. So we're going to take the 5 painters from the question and multiply it by the 6 rooms. 5 times 6 is 30. So 5 painters can paint 6 rooms each in one day, a total of 30 rooms in one day. We're almost done because this is telling us that in one day, if all of those 5 men come in and paint, they will get 30 rooms done. But what the question really wants to know is how many rooms can get done in 10 days. So we need to take our answer right here, 30 rooms, and multiply it by 10 days that they will work, which gives us 300. And I know that so quickly because I just put 1 times 3 is 3 and bring over both zeros. The last step when using a problem-solving Foursquare is to solve. We need to take our question and first flip it. So our question is, how many rooms can 5 painters paint in 10 days if they work separately? We need to take those words and turn them into a question. So we need to say 5 painters can paint blank rooms. We're going to go back to that. In 10 days if they work separately. Now we can fill in our blank spot with the information that we found based on our picture diagram. We know that they can paint exactly 300 rooms in 10 days, so we plug in our answer right there, and we are all done. For the remaining portion of this practice station, you will turn to page 285 of your book. You will complete numbers 1, 2, and 3 using a problem-solving Foursquare in your math notebook. When doing so, you need to make sure that you are following the objective. Once again, it says we will participate in blended learning, like you are right now, as we work in small groups. So this entire time in your practice station, you should be either working with your shoulder partner or with your entire team to make sense of word problems, so understand what you're being asked to do, and then persevere in solving them, like we just did in our example together, taking multiple steps as you look for and solve simpler problems. So look for the first step that you need to do in order to solve that problem before trying to solve the entire thing. Good luck.